Hi, my name is Rebecca and I'm the shop owner at Possum Crochet. Today I wanted to take a minute to go over the traffic sources section of Etsy because I think on their new stats page, well, I say new, but it's been like a year since it's been released. But on the stats page, I don't think it's utilized as much anymore. People don't really realize how much information is in here. Like we see this pretty colored wheel, but we don't really dive into the details that are over here. So I'm just going to walk you through it today and what each of these little sections mean so you can get some more meaningful data for your shop. To start with, I'd recommend first, obviously, hopping over to the stats page and scrolling down below these little bar graphs that we usually get stuck at there at the top. And then I would go ahead and set it to the recommended 30 days because if you look at just today, just yesterday, just the last 7 days, it's a little bit harder to see trends. So I would go ahead and do what they say, use the 30-day period, and then just pop down here to traffic sources. Now, I'm going to go through these in a little bit different order because direct, even though it's the first one here, it's the hardest one to explain. So we're going to start with the Etsy views because that is the most straightforward. Etsy views are basically any views that come to your shop that originated within Etsy. So someone came to Etsy, they searched for something, they find you. They came to the Etsy homepage, they clicked on something, they find you. They browsed around, it doesn't matter. It started in Etsy, not on Google or somewhere else. So let's take a look at this. I'm not sure how many people realize this, but each one of these is clickable. And if you click on them, they expand and they give you all this good information. So this shows you your percentages, how much of your views are coming from these various sources. This can be really useful if you see a spike in traffic, especially from within Etsy, and you don't know where it's coming from. Usually a lot of people have a lot of search traffic, a lot of market page traffic, but they don't necessarily have a lot of Teams traffic or Editor's Picks traffic. If you see a spike in one of these, that's really good to know, especially Teams, because Teams is really anything from the forums. So if you see a spike in traffic all of a sudden and you're not sure why, and it turns out you were active in the forums, that could be from people clicking on your shop from the actual Etsy forums instead of actually being a genuine traffic from potential customers. So that's something to be mindful of. Editor's Picks is also, I think it refers to more than just the official Editor's Picks, because if I look at mine, the Etsy's doing a sale this week, and this one is one of the ones I have really deeply discounted. So I'm pretty sure it's including not just the Editor's Picks emails that Etsy sends out and those features, but also things like their shop information or their special shop sales, whatever they call it. So that's something to consider as well. Let's go back over here. Okay. Whoops, wrong button. So back into Etsy. I'll quickly go over these different items because there's one in particular that a lot of people don't know about, and that's this market page. Market page traffic is usually fairly high for people, and a lot of people don't understand what a market page is, so I'm going to show you real quick. Let's just pull up a new window here, and let's do a Google search for personalized cake toppers, for example. Look, Etsy's the first one. And look at this link here. It says etsy.com/market custom cake topper. So if we click on that, this is a market page. It's basically a search result page for search engines specifically. That's usually when you get to it. And it's for a specific product type within Etsy. So it's a little bit different than when you just do a regular search within the Etsy search bar, because it's giving us, look, this best-selling items for cake topper. It's a little bit different. The other way you can get to this market page, usually, is by, let's just pick on one of these people down here. I'll show you real quick. If we go down to the bottom where they have their tags, like these are the tags they entered in their Etsy product. If we click on one of those tags, that also takes us to a market page. Basically, a market page is any one of these URL addresses that has the word market in it. This is a market page. So if you're getting views in Etsy from market pages, it's most likely coming from a search engine, but it could also be coming from people clicking through on related tags. So that's what that is. Listings, again, you know how if you pull up a listing page, you've got those little related items on the right side of the page. That's where that is. Categories are the Etsy categories. I think most people know that. Etsy homepage, let me just show you this. It can be several different sections on the Etsy homepage. It doesn't necessarily mean you've been featured somewhere. Everything on here counts as the Etsy homepage. This box, this, our picks for you, the recently viewed, the recently favorite, all of this whole thing counts as the Etsy homepage. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you were featured right up here in their top banners here, and it doesn't necessarily mean you were featured in like their blog or the editor's picks. Those are different. If you've gotten a view from the Etsy homepage, it could be any of these, and most likely is coming from our picks for you, recently viewed or recently favorited. At least that's where mine usually tend to come from. So just be mindful that that's what that is. Someone's shop. I know you guys probably saw they used to run banners and such around the shops. Let's just go over to. Let's just pop into this shop real quick and I'll show you what this can be. If someone's getting it from your shop, it's generally, it's not going to be on their homepage, is it? Sorry. It's generally having to do with related listings that were showing up in here. I don't see it now. They must have taken it away. That's not a bad thing. They used to have related products at the very bottom of the shop. And I was seeing a test on that recently where I had related products showing up down here. It's not there now though, so that's good. A lot of people were upset about having other shops' products showing up on their shop pages. But if you're seeing that kind of traffic, that's likely what that is. Purchases is under your account settings. If you go to your purchases, you can get to it from there. Cart, if someone adds it to the cart and then they click on it and they come back to your shop. Teams, I already talked about. That's anything in the community section. It can be from an actual Etsy team you're a part of or just from the Etsy forums. Like if you go and post in the bugs section and someone clicks on your shop, that counts as a team view. Editor's picks, we already talked about. Other shops is listings. Again, it's unlikely you're going to see that anymore because of the way they've changed things. Someone's profile would be if someone favorites items from your shop and they click through there. Similar to favorites, but on an actual another person's profile, not their own. Favorites would be your own favorites. Like I go through and favorite your thing and then I come back and visit it later. Someone else's profile would be like if I follow my friend, I don't know, Tiffany, and Tiffany favorited something of mine or started following my shop, and then I view her thing and like, oh, this looks cool, and then I click through to the item that she favorited. And then conversations, of course, is just your messages with Etsy. So that was kind of long, but that's a lot of the main categories you're going to see underneath the Etsy area. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing or jumbled. So let's go on to external search. External search, again, is pretty straightforward. It's going to show you several different categories within Google and then Bing and then Yahoo. The one thing I would note with this is that they do divide Google Shopping, Google Images, and Google. And that when you click on these, I don't know if Google Shopping is going to give it to us, but usually. So they'll show you the listings you have here and the search terms if they collected it. Now, in this case, there wasn't anything there, but if I go to, let me pull back up external search, Google. If they were able to collect search terms during this process, they're going to have those recorded for you in the individual search. So that's useful to know. Otherwise, if you don't look at it there, you have to scroll down and just kind of look through on your search terms. Here we go. Yeah, they actually tell you Google, etc. here, but if you want to know specifically, really quickly, where you're getting, which search terms you're getting found for in something like Google, go to external search and then go find the one you want to know about. Like, did I get any external search terms from Yahoo? Nope. Okay. I found that out really quickly instead of just scrolling through these keywords trying to see which one's which. So external search is mostly good for, seeing which products are popping up in here and which ones have keywords, if any. All right. Social media. This one is also, pretty straightforward, but also can be a little bit. mm, well, I'll just get into it. Social media is obviously the platforms that you have a presence on for the most part, and also ones you don't have a presence on, but somebody else may have shared a link to one of your products. So, for example, I use Pinterest and Facebook all the time. I'm barely ever on Twitter. I'm always on Instagram, and I'm never on Tumblr. I don't even have an account there. But someone else apparently shared one of my links to one of my listings, and if we click on it, they shared this, obviously. Now, I'm not sure who shared it, where they shared it, but obviously they shared it sometime around this period in March, and apparently they've linked to my shop from there. Going back under social media, Facebook I'm on, and I'm on quite a bit, so I should expect to see some information like that. It looks like somebody else shared some of my patterns on Facebook because there have been a lot of pattern views here, and usually that's not what I share on my Facebook page. I usually share more product stuff. So again, this can kind of show you, is somebody else featuring my thing? When are they featuring it? Things like that. Back into social media. One thing I wanted to mention is, depending on how you have your social media account set up, you may or may not see a lot of traffic here. For example, on Instagram, I have a link in my bio, but I don't link directly to my shop. I use a program called Linktree to allow me to link to multiple things within my Instagram profile. That's another topic for another day, but that's why you see nothing here, even though I'm actually on Instagram quite a lot. And that's going to bring me to other. Other is traffic from websites that they can detect, that Etsy knows this came from this website. So they know exactly where it's coming from. Again, I mentioned Linktree. That's my Instagram traffic. It's not popping up under social media. It's popping up under other because I'm using that service. But these would be like blog features or my website, places where Etsy can tell based on how these websites are setting up their websites and their links. They can tell for sure that this traffic is coming from this website. So that's what other is. It's traffic they can determine the source of. Now, the reason I went to all that trouble to clarify that is because direct is all the traffic they cannot determine the source of. So here, they know for sure we got a view from this website. We know for sure this view came from this website. They don't know maybe which page precisely, but you can click through on it and see, okay, this is the product that was getting views. These are the dates they got views, things like that. But with direct traffic, they can't really tell which website it came from, which app it came from. Are they, how are they accessing your site? We don't really know for sure. So let me give you a few examples of direct traffic. A customer can go up to this tab here and go to something like my shop is Possum Crochet. So possumcrochet.etsy.com. That would count. Whoops, it's redirecting. This would count as a direct traffic view. If I had my shop bookmarked, that would count as a direct traffic view. Let's see here, I'll just pull up a list of it here. I had a list selected. Now this is a list of sources for direct traffic within Google Analytics, but generally speaking, it's the exact same for Etsy. So here's the section that talks about all the different examples of direct traffic. Basically, any link from, some links from email, I guess not all of them, but it's a bit complicated, but it can be, let me put it into layman's terms as much as I can. Basically, direct traffic, again, is anything they can't determine the source of. So sometimes email programs will say, hey, this is coming from email when they direct your links. Sometimes they don't. Documents like PDFs, I sell crochet patterns and I put a link to my shop in my PDF documents. If someone clicks to that, then it's going to show up as direct traffic for me. A URL shortening service like that Bitly stuff, or the Etsy.me or something like that. I think the Facebook mobile apps. Oh yeah, here it is. Clicking on a link from a mobile social media app like Facebook or Twitter. Those use those URL shorteners and references. And so some apps are not going to say, hey, this is app traffic, so this would count as a direct hit, not a social media hit in terms of Etsy. This one doesn't apply very much. It's kind of complicated. Yeah, so the main ones I wanted to point out were these first four here. So I guess the moral of the story is that direct traffic is not necessarily someone typing your address in, especially your Etsy address, because those tend to be long and complicated. It's most often something like, I sent someone a link in Gmail, or I pulled up your site on a Facebook app and I clicked on a link from there. This traffic is not just people typing it into the search bar. A lot of people think that, but I promise you 1,000 people did not come to my site by entering my shop's website address and bookmarking me and things like that. This is traffic from other sources. So that is as detailed of an overview of this as I think I'm probably able to provide for today. I hope I didn't lose you too much in there. The reason I wanted to go over this is because knowing where you're getting your traffic can help you know what's working and what's not working. For example, like if I want to know, is my website guiding people here? No, it's not. And, honestly, it shouldn't be, because my website is supposed to be something else. But, if I wanted to know that information, this is where I'd go to see, am I getting views from social media? Well, now I can tell. Am I getting views? Sure, I'm getting views from social media. It could be better, but I'm getting some. Again, if you want to know, where am I getting my results from in Etsy? Are people actually finding me in the search? Well, yeah, they're getting you from the search. They're also getting you from other locations too. But, this is a great way to understand your traffic sources better, so that you don't just say, oh, I had 500 views this week. And then turns out, they're all coming from the Etsy forums, or they're all coming from a post that you made on Facebook or something. This lets you know and understand your traffic a bit better and the trends that you're seeing in your traffic. So again, I'm sorry this got long and a bit detailed, but I wanted to let you guys know this, because it's a really good resource and it helps you understand how you're performing. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. But maybe some other day, if it's helpful, we'll go into things like your search terms and the websites a bit more, and we can talk about that a bit later. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to share them in the comment section of this video. And I hope this was helpful, and best of luck with your shops. Bye.